My name is Adrienne Garland, and welcome to Sugar Coated. Sugar Coated is a podcast that was born from the notion that for far too long, women and other people who inside felt like they just didn't fit in maybe small or even large ways, had to sugarcoat their words, their style, or in general, their way of showing up in the world. This podcast started out as a dedication to women leaders. You see, I wanted to shine the light on all the incredible work that women do and how they're making an impact. And I still do. But I realized that a key reason that women have struggled, in my opinion, is that they've had to conform to certain cultural norms and ideals, which are inherently designed to keep those outside of the norm from standing out. This has prevented more women from being recognized as the powerful leaders that we truly are. Join me, Adrienne Garland, the CEO and founder of SheLeads Media, each week as I dive into raw conversations with some remarkable, badass women that will help you to strip away your sugar coat and go in the direction of your incredible dreams. Hey everybody, this is Adrienne Garland and you are listening to Sugar Coated. I just wrapped up my conversation with Paulina Lopez, who is the CEO and president of the Business of We. I loved my conversation with Paulina because she talked all about spirituality and business and women coming together in a collective way in order to demonstrate leadership and how we need more of that, especially now and especially going forward. I absolutely loved my conversation with Paulina, and I don't even know if we got to how incredible she truly is. And I think that this is the case with so many women that I know. It's the personal interaction that you get when you're in community with somebody and when you're building a relationship with somebody that is so difficult to articulate in a 30-minute conversation. But I do think that you got a really good taste of who she is and how she approaches her life and her business and why she is very successful in her business. She has an incredible model. It's multi-layered. She has a community. And I think that all of the elements that she talks about with her business and the way in which she approaches it is one of the reasons that she is so successful. So I look to Paulina for it's an alternative business model that I think more women can employ. I think that if you have a certain angle or, perspective or point of view, you can bring together like-minded people in community and develop programs that offer true value. So take a listen to this podcast with Paulina and please let me know what you think in the comments that are on the SheLeads podcast website, or you can send me an email. I would love to hear from you. My email address is adrienne@sheleadsmedia.com, and my name is spelled ADRIENNE at SheLeadsmedia.com. Okay, here's my conversation with Paulina Lopez. I'm your host, Adrienne Garland, and I am beyond thrilled to introduce you to my dear friend, business colleague, and all-around just badass woman, Paulina Lopez. Paulina is the CEO and president of her own company called The Business of We. And We stands for Women Entrepreneurs. So I think that you can see right off the bat why I am in community with Paulina. And I just wanted to, before we kicked off and I introduced you to Paulina, I just wanted to let you all know that I met her through a mutual friend. And I immediately had a connection with her. And from that day, we have remained in constant communication. And she's just been great, of course, overall, so supportive and such great advice. But one of the things that really stood out to me and just warmed my heart and just really solidified what an incredible person she is at my SheLeads conference this past October 2019. I was having a little trouble with some of the people that were helping me. And Paulina, without a beat, jumped in and helped me to get everything back on track, kept people moving along, and she just did it out of the kindness of her heart. And she's a high-level expert professional, and I could not be more grateful. So with that, I'm going to just turn it over to Paulina and let her introduce herself, tell you all about the brilliant woman that she is and all the stuff that she does and continues to do. Welcome, Paulina.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. I am so honored just to be here, speaking with you, connecting with you. If I can tell you the gratitude that I have for our connection since day one and how it's evolved and it's grown and how now we have this sisterhood, this camaraderie, and more importantly, accountability partners in our businesses. For that alone, I am truly, truly grateful for you. And thank you for all the kind words. You know I am a champion for women, and I am a champion for women like you that have stepped up and showed up for women entrepreneurs, for business women. So this right here is everything. And I am excited to be here with you and just play and have an amazing conversation. This is exactly what the Business of We is about. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and one of the other reasons that I'm so excited to have you on the show is because whenever you and I talk, we don't sugarcoat our conversations. We are not trying to do anything to placate one another. We're not trying to, wash over things. We have real conversations about real shit. And I appreciate that so much. And I notice and I admire in you so much that you approach your conversations with everybody with that same brand of just authentic, genuine conversation, but that is also just filled with love. So you have this incredible ability to be this straight talking person that helps people. It's a tough love, but it's filled with so much love. Where did that come from? Like, were you always like that?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I get that so much from many of the women. And it really came down to probably going back as far as middle school, believe it or not, Adrienne, when I was a cheerleader. I brought women together, my girls together, friendship together. I was all about camaraderie and sisterhood. And it really changed the game for me as I became a young adult, as I became a mom, a wife, just an employee, and more importantly, as an entrepreneur. It really has evolved in a great way. Not to say we all as women have our insecurities and we lack confidence. We lose ourselves as mothers, as wives, as, just in everything. We tend to lose ourselves as women. And being able to hone in and just kind of take a step back and ask yourself, what do I want? And in doing so, then now bringing it forward and asking other women, what do you want? And stepping up and see how I can support that woman in being able to just pretty much tap into her fullest potential. So without thinking about others as much as, we do.
Yeah, it's so true. And I actually talk about this on this other podcast that I do. But it's the kindness or the selflessness gone too far. We end up doing for everybody else, and then we, ourselves and our dreams and desires are left behind. And then, that builds resentment and everything. So what do you do through the business of We and some of I would love for you to tell everybody about, what you do. How do you help women to kind of come back to what it is that they want and then, get it?
Love it. Well, if I could give you a quick backstory, and this is how entrepreneurship started for me. So my career professional was in finance and human resources. And of course, finance was great. It gave me the analytical aspect and streamlining our operations as we do. You know this, Adrienne, because that's some of your background. But I have to tell you that with human resources, that's what really changed the game for me, because I was able to witness firsthand true potential being denied opportunity based on how they look on paper. And I see this transitioned into entrepreneurship. And it's the way we are seen, the way we actually not just see ourselves, but see others. So it really came down to creating that platform, that sisterhood offline, because it's the importance of creating these offline connections. I cannot stress the importance of that. Online is great. We know this. We know this is an important part of your business. But creating those solid connections, like a foundation, as you and I have created offline, that's what changes the game. So the business of We is about that. It's about fostering collaborative partnerships and collaborations offline, seeing people in person, hugging, and really being able to look into someone's eye and know. And, I'm a big fan of energy. Energy does not lie. I keep telling people that energy does not lie. Sometimes when we put things out on social media and online, people don't really see what's really behind it. But in person, you get it. You know how that person is truly showing up. Yeah.
It's true. And I've been to your monthly mastermind group, and I can see, sitting around the table and listening to everybody's stories, you can see that positive, love-filled energy flowing. And it's not just all feel good because, everybody has challenges and that comes out too. But everybody is there to really listen and help one another. And I think that that's very special. And you do it not in this, 3,000 person mastermind, but it's a really highly curated group of people that they might not know the specific skills that they need to get to the next level, but they're all there for one another.
Absolutely. It's definitely an intimate space, a sacred space type of setting where the women do get to support each other. Why? Because they're knowing each other firsthand. And truthfully, I see that in you as well, Adrienne. The way you connect with your community through SheLeads, this is exactly the path that I show women how to do this. Make sure that you are creating a sacred space, an intimate setting for women to grow, thrive, and prosper. And that's what I admire so much about you. It's no fluff.
Yeah.
It's genuine. It's authentic. It's about providing actionable steps and tools that they can take away instead of just the motivational aspect. That's a key point, obviously, in entrepreneurship, to make sure you're doing the work, because mindset is everything. But when it comes to business building, you just want to be able to get to the goods.
Yeah.
Give me the goods. Give me the actionable steps. Zero fluff. It's like eliminate the fat. Just give me the meat, and I need to know what is my next step right here, right now. So that's what we do with the business of We. We meet them where they're at.
A couple of things that you said just make me I've been thinking about it myself too, just where does SheLeads Media evolve and grow into? But this idea of being in community with people and seeing them face to face and being able to, look into their eyes and everything, how does that change what you're thinking about now? And then obviously things are going to be changing in the future as businesses open up and people want to get back together and everything. And so that changes. And then another level of change is the stuff, I think, that may have worked in the past from an entrepreneurship and business building perspective might not be the same advice as what it's going to need to be in the future. So what are some of your thoughts around that? Because I'm really rolling that stuff around in my head.
Well, with everything that's going on, clearly there's going to be pivots in every single business. We're witnessing that now, today. And I feel that once we come out of this, what's really going to be key element is who's ready to show up as a leader. Who's going to be at the forefront of the change that is needed? Because obviously this is evolutionary. We know this. We've witnessed this. This is global. So it's going to come down to who are the leaders that are going to be at the forefront of the change that's needed about how we run our businesses, how we show up in our businesses, and how we connect each other.
Yeah. How can women, because it is an amazing opportunity right now, how can women show up and stand up right now and demonstrate that they are leaders? We are. It's just that we haven't been highlighted necessarily or held up as the standard of leadership, but we all know that we are. So what are some of the things that women can do right now to say, like, I'm a leader and I'm going to take you through this?
I think it's going to come down to just using your voice accordingly, to have that personal brand intact, to have relevant information that you want to share that is going to transition into positive change, right? It comes down to eliminating the fear, focusing on faith, not having this awkward waiting period that we're in right now to really be in a space of self-doubt, fear.
Yeah.
I feel that we really need to show up in that leadership role saying, okay, this specific change needs to happen now. Who's with me? Right? Who's with me to make that change? Because it's got to be collaborative, right? It's got to be a collective energy of solution focused, right? Mission driven, purpose focused. It's going to come down to that. And that's going to be probably a small group at first. But with time, that's where that collective energy is going to expand and we're going to see a huge difference. And you know how I feel about women in the forefront of this change. We have been creating businesses now for years and it's amazing. But guess what? We need more of it. And at a time like this, so crucial, the nurturing aspect that women bring to businesses, that's, I think, what's going to bring about this shift, this evolutionary change that we're witnessing right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. And the part about the collective energy, I think, hits the nail on the head for me, because I have been thinking so much about this idea of the collective. I've seen businesses, individual businesses, get together in community with other businesses and form a collective. And to me, that seems like such a strong way to bring and coalesce businesses and business women together, that together, when you like pull it all together, that's where the strength is. So it's almost like the idea of this singular leader as the model of leadership, that thought is old.
Agreed.
And the collective leadership, like the group leadership, is, I think, more of what we need. But you do need that person or that, group, even small group of people to be bold enough and come together and to recognize that you're not going to lose power if you collect people around you.
Exactly.
You're going to gain power. And that's also something that I think is very different than what we were taught in corporate coming up, because there weren't a lot of women leaders.
Agreed. And that's the power of the mastermind within the business of we. It's about the collective energy that when we as forces come together and create together, it just becomes more expansive, right? We reach more. It's a broader audience. And more importantly, it's more of a reach. We expand our reach by doing so and coming together. So this is going to be a huge shift and I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And I see us being at the forefront of that. You with SheLeads, which is an incredible name. And it's so purposeful. It's exactly what we need. We need she to lead with confidence, to lead with that authenticity. So I love this.
And I love your name, the business of we, because we really does speak to the collective. And, I think at first it probably stood for women entrepreneurs and it still does, right? But
Agreed.
it's more than that now. Like the business of we is also so powerful because it's all of us in collective. So, I bet you didn't know how smart you were when you came up with that name, but it is amazing. And I'm also looking forward to doing more things in partnership with you because I think that our audiences can really complement one another. And I know that you focus in on the Latina, woman entrepreneur. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because just women entrepreneurs in general aren't given the same type of resources. And then, when you start to look at some of the subgroups, it's even less. How do you continue to give that message of positivity and just even describe the business of we? Like what is your business model? What are some of the things that you do?
Awesome. And yeah, thanks for asking because this is something that I want to reach as many women as I want. Obviously, women in general. But for me, as a Latina woman, it was important to focus on the women of color, Latina women. And it comes down to believing in the positive impact that women in business have to change lives, to become key drivers of economic growth in their communities, right? Because as we expand our network and our brand to areas outside of our community, around the country, we want to be able to empower, elevate, ignite these women to recognize these unique qualities that they possess and to believe in the value that they bring to the table. They can initiate startups, they can create e-commerce businesses, products for women, services. They can drive economic expansion and advance communities worldwide, which is the power of what the business of we is.
I love it. And I just almost want to sit with what you said because I think it's so powerful. And I think that that's where your strength is. It's the way that you use the words to really lift people up. There's so much passion behind the words and also this knowing. You're not just saying the words, you're knowing that there's this potential that exists and you want to unleash that, which I love.
Wow.
Really, Paulina. Oh my gosh. So I would love for you to just kind of talk about the mastermind. I know you do your retreats, you do some other things, you do your conference, like talk all about that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So, in addition to being a business consultant and strategist to these women entrepreneurs, in Companion, I have the community of the business of we, and which is where I shared these live events take place and the connections are made. So, it comes down to for our 12-month or the programming of live events throughout the year, it's a monthly workshop where we meet in Midtown. And we just added a chapter in the Rockland-Bergen suburbs, which is in Nyack, New York, which we also meet every month. So that's 2 meetings per month for just an introductory workshop or introduction to the mastermind aspect. And then the bigger events is every quarter I also host a 2-day business mastery local retreat per se, and where we come together mastermind in a small intimate setting for that woman entrepreneur that's ready to elevate her business to another level. She's willing to do it in a supportive environment with other women. And it's a really incredible space where women come out of there with a solid business plan. And more importantly, sometimes partnerships, these power partnerships, which is a part of our model as well. In addition to that, as you know, we host the annual conference in the fall, which is happening on Friday, October 9th of 2020, providing everything comes back to normalcy by the fall. Mm-hmm. And actually, right now, this moment, we were supposed to be at our annual wellness retreat in the Caribbean, which, as you can imagine, got postponed to the fall. So that's happening at the end of October. And that is an incredible 5-day getaway experience where women step away from their businesses and really focus on self-love, self-care, and what it actually takes to focus on themselves to run the business, right? Because we know how we always we put ourselves on the back burner and we take care of everyone else. Well, that's what this wellness retreat is about. We focus on you. And another space where some amazing connections are made in this type of setting. So it's incredible.
I love that. It's interesting. I know you had to postpone it, but I love how it's going to be coming after your conference, because I know you always take some time, which I admire. You always take some time after the annual conference to kind of retreat on your own, which I think is so necessary. Anybody that produces any type of a day-long event, especially, with on your own, for the most part, you have help, of course, but this is your effort. Anybody that does that knows how much it takes and how much energy it requires. And then it does require that solitude on the back end of it. So I love how you're going to be doing the retreat after the conference. I think that's such a good idea.
Awesome. Yes, I am excited. I'm going to need that little getaway as well. And I'm hoping you'll join us.
I know. Let's hope that everybody is healthy and this whole virus thing is, squarely behind us.
A thing of the past.
Yeah.
Yes,
history, or that we know how to just manage it so that we don't have to be in the state that we're in right now. What are some of the things that the people in your groups are talking about right now? I've read the spectrum of things. I've read that people are, so afraid. And then I also read something today, another podcast that I listened to in the newsletter. They said that, every business owner that this person had spoken to, no one has talked about quitting. And I'm like, that's really interesting, because I have heard that people are talking about quitting. So in your particular, through your lens, what are some of the women that are in your community? What are they saying? What are they thinking?
Well, as you can imagine, my mission and my passion is to keep everything highly elevated. And it's down to really coming up with ways that we can stay creative, we can stay productive. And like I said, keep them positive, keep them in that creative flow, that creative energy, so they don't give up on themselves, even though they're at home and they feel that we're going back to basics and taking care of the family. But so far, these women have been excited just to be on these Zoom, because as you can imagine, pivoting into these Zoom calls, they've been excited to see what's going to happen next. And they are getting creative. They are still in a mindset of growth. And so everything's looking great as far as the community. And again, that comes down to the leadership aspect. I want to make sure they stay highly motivated in this time of need.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you are doing different things all the time to kind of seed the community with that positivity, I think that is a model of leadership that can't be denied. Nothing bad can come of that. I was talking to somebody yesterday who is, she's a business coach for women that are within corporate. So they're not so much entrepreneurs. They're more, women leaders and everything. And we were talking about this idea of people who are hoping that things go back to the way that they were. And so that puts them in a particular mindset, just like the hope,
Agreed.
the hoping. But she said, we need to not just have that hope. We also need to ask ourselves the question, well, what if everything is different? Because that's where opportunity lies. And then she told me a story that it was about Dunkin' Donuts, a big franchise corporation and things like that. But I thought it was such a good story. She was talking about how the local Dunkin' Donuts in her neighborhood in New Jersey, instead of just selling donuts, what they did, and this could be a franchise owner getting creative. I'm not exactly sure whether this was a company-owned store or a franchise-owned store, but this particular Dunkin' Donuts, instead of just selling donuts, was selling donut making kits.
Wow.
Yeah. And she said
Wow.
the line was around the corner for people because it's this white space opportunity, and they thought to
Absolutely.
themselves, "How can I modify, not so much change, close down, whatever, but how can I modify what I'm doing to help people?"
I love it. It's about tapping into your creativity. I always go back to that.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Amazing story.
Yeah. So what are you doing to stay positive? Are there like any particular tips? Like, yes, mindset, okay, but sometimes it's difficult. Our thoughts go out of control. Something happens. We're not strong. We're tired, but we're stressed. What are maybe one or two things that people can do to maintain that high vibe energy?
Well, I always say that the greatest work that we do is when we step back and take a power pause. Less is more. Whatever that means, sitting down with a cup of coffee, cup of tea, reading a book, journaling, meditating, getting out into nature, creating a space where you can receive, right? Receive the divinity, whatever it is that you call to you, the greatest power to get the information you need for your next step.
Mm,
And that it's like blank canvas. You need that. I call it the power pause because I find that the less I do in a day and instead I clear myself to receive the information I need to receive, the greater. And I find myself being able to shift into that power productivity.
I love that so much. And I'm always in awe of your ability to do that and anybody's ability to be open to receiving. And I have to tell you that I have a very difficult time with that. I
Mhm.
definitely know how to, stop and put the things aside, but I have a lot of trouble, and I think that people can relate to this. I have a lot of trouble then tuning in. I don't even know what the right word is. Tuning
Mm,
in
that's
to
it.
whatever the message is. Like, I don't know how to receive.
Mm.
Any tips for me? Or am I a lost cause?
You are not a lost cause. You have to focus on yourself, self love, self care, whatever that looks like, quieting the mind, not taking anybody's information, being able to check in with yourself and your emotions. How do I feel right now? What do I want in this moment? That's what it comes down to.
Mm, so good. Such good stuff, Paulina. And I want to be on a Caribbean beach right now.
Same
Oh
here.
my gosh, the weather in New York has just been awful.
It has, but we have some sunshine coming in tomorrow, some summer
Woo!
weather.
Thank God,
Yes.
because I have definitely gone outside and gotten into nature when it's raining and windy and all of that, and it's just a lot more pleasant when there's a little bit of sunshine coming through, so I am truly grateful for the weather for the next couple of days. Anybody else who's listening that's in New York, you can totally relate. Oh my gosh. So any final, words of wisdom and that you have?
Wow, so many, so many. But in this time of need, please, please, faith over fear. Focus on the good. Focus on the positive that's ahead for us. Tap into your creativity. Tap into the divinity within. Focus on you, self care, self love. Just be in a smiling state of
Yeah.
possibilities within yourself and check in. Check in. There's nothing like when you can check and correct yourself, so someone else doesn't think they have to do that for you because they will try.
Mhm.
But when you are in a space of grace and you know that you have that ability to do that for yourself, people know it and they see it and they sense it and they feel it. So that's what it comes down to, just focus on you.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much. And how can people get in touch with you, follow you, join your groups, tell them everything?
Awesome. Thank you. So the Business of We website is bizofwe.com. That's bizofwe.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter under @businessofwe. And you can email me at either paulina@bizofwe.com or info@bizofwe.com. And I would love to hear from you.
Beautiful. Now, do you have anything coming up maybe in the next 2-3 weeks that people could participate in? Any type of like online sessions or anything that you're doing?
Absolutely. So we have our next virtual mastermind on Wednesday, May 27th at 7 p.m. And you can find that information, of course, on the website. And then we're looking ahead to the summer, which we're hoping to finally have our business salon high tea event that was scheduled for March and needed to be postponed. So that's going to be a really fun, feminine event where we come in our elegant hi-hats and pearls of wisdom, whatever that looks like. And we have an incredible lineup of speakers for that event. So we'll have more information on that. But it has been postponed, and we're looking ahead to July or August.
I can't wait to go to that. I was so psyched to be able to go to the high tea. So I'm so happy that you're continuing to do that because I really want to do that. So Paulina, you are amazing. I adore you. I admire you. You inspire me. And thank you so much for being on the Sugar Coated podcast. I am so grateful for our friendship.
I am so honored and grateful for our connection. You are incredible, and I adore you as well. So thank you for having me.
Yay!
Yay!
Hey, everybody. If you liked my conversation with Paulina, well, these are the types of conversations that I'm having with women and men, and I always have for as long as I can remember. I love to talk to people and really understand who they are, and I love to have these genuine, authentic conversations. I hope that you enjoyed listening to the Sugar Coated podcast, and if you do, that you would please spread the word. Tell other people about the Sugar Coated podcast, and if you feel so moved, please give us a glowing review on iTunes. I know that it does help with surfacing our content, and our content is truly special. I am not just doing this for the fame and the glory, but I'm doing this to showcase that women have something to say. We have very important thoughts, ideas, and opinions that need to go out into the world. And so I'm demonstrating this through this creation of the Sugar Coated podcast and also the creation of the SheLeads Podcast Network, which is a project of SheLeads Media. So please take a look at our website and check out all the podcasts that are on the SheLeads Podcast Network. We'll be adding shows in the coming weeks. We have a couple up there right now, and you'll be seeing more and more. It is our mission to showcase women's thoughts, ideas, and opinions, powerful women, powerful voices. We are the future, and podcasting, I believe, is an incredible medium for women to really get deep and to be able to demonstrate their thought leadership. So, like I said, please check out SheLeadsMedia.com, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about anybody else that you might like interviewed, or if there's something else that you want to know about me, please just shoot me an email. It's Adrian@SheLeadsMedia.com. Talk to you soon. This is the SheLeads Podcast Network.